the hardest things to do is to not get carried away by the hype of a new MMO. I watched all of the footage from all of the game reviews so you don't have to. And with the beta coming soon, there are a few things we should all look out for. Most of the footage we saw from other content creators were from an older build, so let's keep a close watch on our journey towards launch. Content creators can only give so much feedback, but it hits different when reinforced by the majority of the community. This time is probably when the devs are listening to us the most, so it's important we know what to look out for and voice our issues out constructively. Telling the devs their game is garbage does not help anybody, and if anything, will only make them less likely to read our feedback. But when the devs see that we're not just an angry mob and we're a reasonable bunch, those communication lines stay open. We've seen so many MMOs and said this game has potential, so let's try to help this one along before it launches. Let's get started. Number 1. Inertia. I don't know why games force this into MMOs, but every time they have, I've seen it get removed. We saw Black Desert Online add this to one of their classes, and it got lambasted online almost immediately. We want fast and fluid movements, and inertia just feels really janky most of the time, especially in a game like this that has kind of jump puzzles. Number 2, interactions. Trying to interact with the world and not being able to when you should, like chopping wood, harvesting, butchering, and activating levers, among others. Basic things like this should definitely be resolved by launch, if not already by this beta weekend. This is your first impression. Word of mouth is huge when it comes to generating or killing hype, and not having these basic things be bugged is crucial. Some of these bugs exist even in older games, and this needs to be a non-issue when it comes to launch. Number 3. Optimization issues. Earlier this month, I played another UE5 game called World of Jade Dynasty that launched its Taiwan server, and the game looked gorgeous. Except it dropped frames more often than I was dropped on the head as a toddler, which is bad. You shouldn't drop frames. Or toddlers. Now, I know some people might say, but that's an old build. Have you seen the new gameplay video? And to that I ask, well, is that new gameplay with thousands of people in the same server or hundreds of people in the same location? These things definitely have a bearing on performance, and I hope they know of the precautionary tale of New World at launch, where a game that had so much interest had so many people quit so early because they couldn't even play the game. People will take time off of work to play this game at launch or even during the weekend beta, and having performance be suboptimal, it's just not a good first impression. Number 4, PvP system. Dueling needs to be fixed, needs more space to work with, and removing the janky flag in the middle is pretty good for starters. Flagging needs some improvement as well, such as sufficient buffs. PvPers flag for PvP and that's it. That's all we want. But for most, the idea besides being able to PvP is that you're going out into the world with risks. Risks involved that are worth the reward. Let's say you go out into the world with more EXP per kill or harvest or more yield per gather. And if you die a couple of times, your efficiency technically goes down to how it was if you didn't have the buff. If you get killed more times than that, then it becomes inefficient because you just wasted more time running back. But the buffs need to be worth it for people to have the incentive to flag before they head out. A sort of thrill, if you will. Number 5, lighting. From what we've seen so far, daytime looks gorgeous. Nighttime or anything weather related like fog so far makes combat more annoying, and making monsters less visible in a Souls-like game where you're supposed to be paying attention to what a mob is doing so you can dodge, it just doesn't work well. When it rains and you're indoors, the walls look like they have water running down on them. Not every house can possibly be this leaky. Again, not the biggest deal, but it does make the game look like it lacks polish. And this leads us to number 6, settings. Obviously, these issues could be something that could potentially be fixed by adjusting your settings, but I would rather not this game fall into the same trap as Throne and Liberty, where most of the optimal settings were not the default settings, leading to a lot of players having to ask streamers and YouTubers on how to optimize their gameplay for the most basic things like this. Even things as basic as targeting sometimes. Number 7. Minimap. They need to make this an option instead of being stubborn about only using a compass. I'm indifferent about this in general, but I know the community is pretty divided on this. Might as well let people play the way they want to play. Especially since the devs have been preaching that you're free to create your own adventure in this game. Either that or make it so the compass provides enough info where you don't have to keep opening your map, because having to open your map every 5 seconds to figure out where you're at or where your objective is, whether it's up or down, is pretty immersion breaking, and they're against that, or so I'm told. Number 8. Cursor. Boba Jenny made a really good point in one of her videos, where there was no shortcut to toggle your cursor. Some games usually have this when you press your Control or Alt keys. I know that they're trying to cater to the console audience, but let's be real. Majority of our players are going to be using mouse and keyboard. Number 9. Material conversion. This was something that I noticed was not available as well. You could not convert a T1 of a material and maybe exchange 10 of that to make a T2 version. This leads to your inventory or storage getting clogged, and I can see this being an angle of, well, just buy more storage space in the cash shop. Not exactly a good look. It's like when BDO used to give silver weight so you could buy more max inventory weight. Let me use my storage space for all the different sets of gear I would make to cater to whatever content I'm going to be doing that day. Number 10. Mob AI and Jankiness. If you've watched any video out there where people are fighting regular mobs or bosses in the open world, you probably noticed some of these mobs feel like they're dropping FPS too. Their movements are pretty janky, and looking at their argument about not having a minimap due to immersion, this issue breaks your immersion pretty quickly. Number 11. Movement. I don't have to go too deep into detail on this one. The character and mount movements look awkward, almost like they're holding it in while trying to go to the nearest bathroom sometimes. The way that characters move around while holding their weapon looks horrible as well. When you compare it to the way characters in Throne and Liberty hold their weapons, for example, it's just so much better and looks way cooler. With that said, as an MMORPG fan and content creator, I do hope that the potential of this game is realized instead of going to waste. They've built up hype at a really good time, with games like Throne and Liberty being towards the end of their expansion and interest in the game being at an all-time high. A lot of features in Chrono Odyssey look really promising, and if executed correctly is going to have a lot of retention for a lot of players. So hopefully a lot of these issues are resolved by the time the game launches. And that's all from me. I'll see you guys in the beta, and we'll talk about everything after. Peace.